Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Matthew Harper, a junior business marketing major with a minor in journalism and sports. Welcome to Morehouse. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing to you our session moderator, Mr. Ron Thomas. Mr. Thomas is the director of our journalism and sports program and associate professor of English here at Morehouse College. Before coming to Morehouse, he was a sports writer for 34 years, during which he wrote for the San Francisco Chronicle, USA Today, and San Francisco Examiner, covering professional and major collegiate sports. In August, Mr. Thomas was the winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award for Sports Journalism given by the Northeastern University Sports and Society for his article about the racial dimension of sports. Join me in welcoming Mr. Ron Thomas.
Well, nice to see you here today, and it's really a pleasure to be able to bring you a distinguished panel of experts on career opportunities in entertainment and also the world of sports. Certainly as a sports writer, I've been involved in sports and entertainment throughout my whole career, and it's been a great joy to me. I often tell people that I was born to be a sports journalist, and I didn't know it was going to be as entertaining as it turned out to be. So it's if you're interested in these careers, my personal experience is that it can be a wonderful opportunity for you to never feel that you're having to go to work when you're actually working. It's because you'll enjoy it quite a bit. I think today one of the strong points of our panel is that they have a variety of different occupations in the worlds of entertainment and sports, and also those worlds intersect in many ways. So you'll get some information about a wide variety of careers, and we're going to give you an opportunity to ask questions of the panel, and also give the panel an opportunity to talk about what they do and some of their philosophy behind it. Four topics that we're going to in general cover today are: what are the opportunities for people in their particular industries? What are the obstacles to success that you may face? Are there ways for you to be mentored in the professions that they hold? And also, is it important for you to go on to graduate school if you want to get into their professions? So those are four general topics that we'll cover. And then certainly you can ask questions, other questions that are related to the entertainment and sports world. I wanted to start by introducing each of the panelists. I'll introduce them one at a time. I'll give an introduction. They will talk for about 3 to 5 minutes about their occupation. And we'll go through the four panelists in that way. And then I want to pose a question to the audience, and then come back to the panel for them to answer one question from me, and then we'll open it up to questions after that. So let's get started. Okay. Our first panelist is Esha Edwards, who is founder of Epic Measures, LLC. Esha's role is as a founder and brand marketing consultant for Epic Measures involves developing brand-driven marketing initiatives which align with the company or an individual's core values. Now, what that means is that she builds marketing brands based on strategic alliances, and she particularly specializes in the entertainment world, and some of the entertainment people and organizations she's worked with include Usher, and working with his foundation, and independent artists who are from the Atlanta area, Gibran, and also Canton Jones. And she also has worked with the Bronze Lens Film Festival. She earned a degree in business management from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and holds a branding and integrated marketing certificate from University of Southern California's Marshall School of Business. One reason I'm particularly pleased to have her here is that she has a true love of writing. Her articles have been published in several publications, and also she has a love of teaching. So she's been involved in several different colleges, working at University of Illinois, working with the University of Southern California's Marshall School of Business. She's worked with the business school at Emory University, teaches now in Clayton State's Center for Continuing Education, and also works with the Dallas Austin Foundation for Music Education. So she's got a broad background. and anybody who loves to write is a favorite of mine. So, Isha, I'd like you to just talk a little bit about what you do and why you enjoy it so much.
Thank you for having me here, especially to Guy, who I've known for a long time. I actually got introduced to Guy through an entrepreneurship program through providing my services or volunteering within the community. I am one of those non-traditional writers slash entertainers slash entrepreneurship individuals. When I went to school, my major was selected by my counselor. So she pretty much asked me what I wanted to do, and I told her that I wanted to be in charge. And she kind of said, well, that sounds like a management major, and I asked whether or not that included any type of math, and she said just a little bit, and I said, sign me up. So I took that journey and traditionally did a couple of internships in the banking field before I came to Atlanta. How I got on the entertainment side was also one of those random things. An associate asked me to help with an artist, to do some writing for them, to do some editing, and word got around that I did really well. And then I ended up doing some freelance journalism for AUC Magazine. Anybody know AUC Magazine? No? Okay. Kevin Johnson, he's an alum, I believe, of Morehouse College. So I wrote in school, in high school, in college. I freelance wrote. It wasn't something I did for fun. I did because it was interesting, but not because it was something that I thought I wanted to do as a career. So as I went along in my career, people just found that I had a really good strength of being able to articulate things with words and also to create concepts. And my business kind of came as a result of demand. I would do writing projects for professors at Emory. I would do resumes. I hosted events. I just was helping people. And then as I helped people, people started saying, hey, I'll pay you to do this. And light bulb went on. After a while, you know, demand warranted supply, and I pre-launched or soft-launched my business. Didn't have a name at the time. And as I got built awareness, people started to know who I am, and then I started developing the core of what I wanted to do. And then through promoting myself, I was able to garner the client base that I have. A lot of value, or I believe the reason why I got where I am is because I have a diverse background. So I'm a business major, but I can write, and I can also do marketing communications. And because this is sports journalism with an emphasis on English and writing, I would really stress to those of you who are taking this class or participating in this program to focus on your writing. Writing has gotten me places where I never dreamed. Being able to write an email, being able to write a proposal, being able to pitch, all of those things involve writing articles. Everything that you see, even if it's an ad, that's still words described on paper. And if you are able to write well, speak well, then you can pretty much get anywhere in the world.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank Isha because I was going to make a commercial for the journalism and sports program, but she just gave it much better than I could. So, so I totally agree with what she said. No matter what you want to do in improving your ability to write will make you more marketable and make you better at your job. So, so take journalism and sports courses. So good. We want to next move on to Kimberly Haynes, and Kimberly Haynes is head of Haynes Johnson LLC. She's an attorney who is a marketing strategist who works with a variety of clients in the sports and entertainment industry. Now, Kimberly works a lot with athletes, and she is not an agent. She does not negotiate their contracts with teams. Her specialty, though, is negotiating contracts for an athlete that relate to his business development. One of her clients, for instance, is Deshaun Jackson, the well-known receiver with the Philadelphia Eagles. Another one of her clients is Lewis Williams with the Philadelphia 76ers. And when we were talking about what Kimberly does, and what she calls herself the gatekeeper, in that she, when athletes get offers to invest their money, she's the one who looks at these offers and decides whether it makes sense or whether this is someone trying to turn a player's hard-earned income into fool's gold. So, and why is this so important? years and years ago, it's a good example. I remember talking to a well-known agent named Bob Wolf. He was the agent for Larry Bird. And we were just talking one day about what's difficult about his job, about negotiating contracts and so on. And he said negotiating with teams is not the hardest part of my job. The hardest part of my job is when I get a call at 3 a.m. from an athlete who met someone at a nightclub who wants him to invest in a silver mine in Canada. And I've got to convince him that that's not a good idea. And it's very important. In fact, I heard an athlete a couple days ago on radio talking about the same thing, that so many athletes lose their money because of poor investments. So Kimberly Haynes is the person who tries to save them from themselves. So Kimberly, and also she has a personal connection to Morehouse. I'll let her explain that.
Good morning, everybody. First, let me say hi to my Uncle J.K., who is the Dean of Math and Science over here at Morehouse. That's my personal shout out. But I have an even more personal connection with the campus because I'm an alumna of Spelman College. So I started well, not literally right here, but right across the street at Spelman. And it has been a great journey. It has been a wonderful journey. And one of my mottos is I enjoy what I do so much that I never feel like I work a day in my life. Because with the athletes and entertainers who I work with, they really give me the motivation to get up in the morning. So I started out here at Spelman, and then I went to Tulane Law School for my Juris Doctor. Wanting to be a sports agent out of law school, I took the sports route, so I got my sports certification from Tulane University. But there was one very poignant moment in my matriculation at Tulane, and it was when I was talking to a guy who worked in the mailroom. And he had a child who was autistic. And he looked a little, gloomy one day when I passed by the mailroom, and I was like, Bob was wrong. And he said, we're in New Orleans, and at that time we had about 4 professional teams. And he said, there are no resources for me nor my wife in helping to raise my autistic son. And he was like, with all these guys, doing good stuff in the community, I can't find anybody who could give us those resources. So that was my aha moment. I wanted to do something in sports, but I wanted to do something that was going to give me satisfaction and wanted to get that warm and fuzzy feeling. So I decided to pursue a career in working with athletes with their nonprofit organizations as well as their business development. So I actually clerked with a Superior Court judge here for 3.5 years, and then I went out on my own and created Ombi Group, which is a nonprofit management consulting firm. And we work with athletes, entertainers, and professionals who want to start their nonprofits. So we do everything from the rooter to the tutor. We are a one-stop shop. We work with their brand development. We work with sponsorship procurement. We actually put the infrastructure together for them. We work with their program development, board training. And in addition to that sphere of Ombi Group, we've created a department where we work with athletes and their business development opportunities. So I kind of created that niche, starting out with a couple of guys from my hometown who wanted to do more in their communities but didn't have the wherewithal nor the time to set up their own nonprofits. And then from that, we delved into the sports business development world. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And it's very rewarding because in the sports industry, and I've talked to a couple of the panelists about it, you can create your own niche. And you find that once those persons trust you, you're in their circle of trust. So whereas I was doing the nonprofit management for a number of my clients came to say, okay, Kim, can you look over this will for me? Or can you look over this business opportunity for me? Or yeah, some guy in the club approached me at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, could you invest in my recording studio? Kim, can you just check him out for me and let me know if this is a good investment for me to do? So I found that through the nonprofit formation that I work with my clients, they want me to assist them with a lot of their day-to-day opportunities. So that's when I thought that, wow, I can do more in their lives than just do the warm and fuzzy. I can also work with them with their business development needs. And I come from a family of educators, so my big thing is working with my clients, but also educating them on the do's and don'ts of, getting these good investments or, looking into what they want to do and pursue a career outside of what they're doing on the court or on the field. So with my education background, I also teach them how to look at a spreadsheet or teach them how to review a contract or what provisions are important and what provisions can potentially be fatal for their careers.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Our next guest I'd like to introduce is Reggie Roberts. And, when I talk to people about getting involved in the off the court or off the field part of sports. One of the things I mentioned to them is that an athlete, that like the average player in the NFL, their career is 4 years old. I mean, 4 years long. So by the time they're 26, on average, they're out of work and looking for another profession. And so outside of Jerry Rice, no player I know of can say what we can say about Reggie Roberts, which is that he's a 20-year veteran of the NFL. And Reggie is the vice president of football communications with the Atlanta Falcons. He was a sports writer who covered pro football with the Austin American-Statesman, an award-winning sports journalist, and then got into the public relations side, working for teams in the National Football League. This is his 8th year as the vice president of football communications for the Falcons. And before that, he also was a public relations director for Tampa Bay when Tony Dungy was the head coach there. He spent 7 seasons at the NFL headquarters in New York City, where he was director of information for the National Football Conference from 1990 to 1996. And he also has been so good at his job that he was the winner of the Rozelle Award. That award is named after Pete Rozelle, the former commissioner of the NFL, and it's an award presented annually by the Pro Football Writers of America to the NFL's top public relations and football communications staff. As someone who used to cover the 49ers, I can't tell you how valuable it is to have an excellent PR person when you're covering their team. And Reggie certainly had that reputation, and deservedly so. Reggie's jobs are very wide-ranging. He is in charge of setting up the day-to-day operations, media operations for the team. Making sure that that game program you get when you go to a Falcons game is there and well written, well edited. He is in charge of many aspects of training camp. When things go wrong, he's very much heavily involved in crisis management strategies and developing those strategies. And I really appreciate the fact that Reggie is here because he has been an extremely strong supporter of the journalism and sports program. He was a panelist on the first panel discussion we ever gave here. He has had several of our students, including Matthew Harper, as one of their training camp summer interns. And I know Matthew, we thought we had a sports journalist, but now he's decided he wants to work inside the team and become the next Reggie Roberts. And so he's been extremely supportive of us, and we really do appreciate it. So Reggie, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. Thanks, Dr. Ron. Good morning. I'm probably one of the most luckiest guys in professional sports because I get up every day energized and fired up because I get to work with the greatest athletes who play the greatest game in America. Just to give you a little bit of my background, right now I'm currently VP of PR for the Atlanta Falcons. What that means is I'm the day-to-day spokesman for the team on all football and non-football matters. That ranges from everything from when our guys get selected to the Pro Bowl, when our guys get selected to various league and various team administrative committees. And it also means that I'm the guy who delivers the bad news when one of our guys gets in trouble, gets fined, that kind of thing as well. So the job is different every day. Right now we're in our off season where we're getting ready for free agency and the upcoming draft, and it's not as busy for us, specifically my department, as it is during training camp when we'll have anywhere from 250 media members come through during a 6-week period. We've got to prepare for story ideas, a roster, preseason games, sometimes international games, travel, road games. My group is responsible for all the football communications materials that you see on our internet site and in our press box on game days. We also work very, very closely with Coach Smith, General Manager Tom Dimitroff, Team President Rich McKay, owner Arthur Blank, in messaging and all of their messaging for various speeches, community things that they're involved in. We also work very closely with our new media department. We write and produce a lot of the content that's found on AtlantaFalcons.com. Ron alluded to, we also work very closely when there's a crisis. When you've got an NFL team, you got 53 guys who've got millions of dollars in their pockets. Sometimes those guys don't make the right decisions. And we're very, very much involved when one of our guys does something dumb, says something dumb, tweets something dumb. We're very, very involved in the cleanup and the making sure that gets right. So Ron asked us for a couple of mottos. I've got 2, and I tell our guys this. Motto number 1 is never write when you can talk and never talk when you can listen. And the second one is ask questions. It's the greatest form of self-discovery. The business of sports from professional football is changing every day with this new thing, the this thing called the internet and social media. Okay, if you guys don't get anything out of what we're going to talk about here today, learn how to write. Don't just learn how to write. Learn how to write well. Okay, you can if you can write, you've got value to me. You've got value to Nina. You've got value to every panelist up here. If you can write, if you can't write, you got no value, and you severely limit your options.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next guest is C.J. Stewart, and C.J. is the founder and CEO of Diamond Directors Player Development. And C.J., I have a question for you, which is, where were you when I needed you? You know, when I was 12 years old and I was playing baseball on School 12 playground in Buffalo, New York, I needed somebody like C.J. because he's a swing coach. And I had 3 problems as a baseball player. I couldn't hit a fastball, I couldn't hit a curveball, and most of the time I missed the changeup. So, but you could have helped me be the shortstop for the LA Dodgers. So where were you? CJ is a swing coach. And as he mentioned to me, when you think of a swing coach, maybe you think of Tiger Woods. Everyone knows that Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Well, CJ performs that duty and does that coaching and mentoring for young people who want to be professional baseball players. He starts at a very young age. I think you mentioned we were talking maybe working with kids as young as 6, and he develops them, and with the goal is to become a professional player. And he's had a great deal of success. There are 20 major leaguers at least who CJ has worked with as their swing coach, and that includes Jason Hayward, the rising star with the Atlanta Braves, Andrew Jones, who had a long career here in Atlanta, Dexter Fowler, who's in the Colorado Rockies, I think Andrew McCutchen also with the Pittsburgh Pirates. CJ was a former outfielder in the Chicago Cubs organization, and he grew up in he is a living success story. He grew up in one of the most dangerous housing projects in Atlanta called Hollywood Courts. And he's a perfect example of the phrase, where you started doesn't determine where you finish. So CJ, love to hear from you.
Ron, and am I on here? Okay. And then I also want to thank Guy for inviting me, giving me the opportunity to come here. Born and raised here in Atlanta, and probably around the age of 10 years old, started watching baseball games, in particular the Cubs. They would have the day games, and then the Braves had the night games. Both of them were terrible, and but I watched the Cubs more. And right then and there, I decided, this is something I really want to do. I enjoyed baseball. I wanted to take it to the highest level and play and compete. And then I guess when I was probably about 3rd grade, we had a career day at my elementary school, Grove Park. And a gentleman came in, and he said he was an entrepreneur, and he was the best dressed out of all the speakers. So I decided, hey, that's something I want to do. And so as a kid, and I was going through life, wanted to be involved with baseball and wanted to have my own business one day. I was very fortunate to use baseball to get a college baseball scholarship, go to Georgia State University, and go on and play professionally for the Chicago Cubs. College was great, and it was one of those things where, again, my passion to be an entrepreneur and basically be my own boss was something that was just very important to me. I had people in my family that had day-to-day jobs and was never happy. So I said, if I'm going to be unhappy, I'm going to call my own shots. So that was my burning passion to do that. When I retired from baseball, shortly before my retirement, I met my wife, who's in the audience, and we got married, came home slightly depressed because my baseball career was over, trying to figure out what I was going to do, and basically just kind of sat around the house a lot. And she told me one day, you're going to have to find something to do. And but I was really lost because even though I had gone to college, my major being business management was just so broad, and I just really needed help to just narrow in on exactly what I wanted to do. So the baseball industry had pretty much kind of just started from a professional standpoint, and in the Cobb County area, there were instructors that weren't even certified that were training kids and making $50 to $100 an hour. And so I said, hey, this is something I'm going to try. And sadly to say, but it's the truth, I really started out doing it just for the money. And as I continued to work with kids, young kids, they signed college scholarships. Some were getting drafted, and I just started figuring, hey, I need to be making a little bit more than $100. coming in here and y'all are turning away making millions. So fast forwarding, I've been doing this for 13 years. And just to give you an idea of what I do, Jason Hayward came into my training facility at 12 years old. And he said that just from coming in, he noticed that his house was here, my training facility was here, and right in the middle was Turner Field. And he had to pass by that place every single day. And basically he just asked me, can you help me get to Turner Field and play there? And he said, I want to hit a home run by the age of 21. I mean, that's not a lie. I mean, literally he said that. And so it was my goal. His parents invested money in me to help him hit that home run that he hit. So I'm in charge of building his swing. I created it. And for those who follow baseball and saw his struggles last year, I didn't do anything to hurt it. He just got hurt. He had injuries last year, but this year is going to be an amazing year. We spent a lot of time. But I've been able to create a methodology that I can use. So I do have clients as young as 6. So on the for-profit side, things are great. I get a chance to do amazing stuff, but also through my nonprofit organization, LEAD, I'm able to come back to the inner city of Atlanta and use baseball to help young men access higher education as well as civic engagement. Got some of the young men from Best Academy that's here. My wife and I brought baseball to the APS. Prior to us, baseball never existed. To date, 100% of my young men have graduated from high school, going to college, and 89% go on scholarship. So
that's terrific. All right. Well, thanks very much, CJ. I wanted to ask just 3 students from the audience. We'd just like you to tell us why you came to this event today and what do you hope to learn from it. And then we will come back later and start answering questions. But I just want to hear that, why you came and what you hope to learn from it. Just 3 of you raise your hands.
Anyone raise their hand yet? Oh, don't be bashful. All right, there we go.
And this will just help the panelists understand what you'd like to hear from them.
My name is Amadou, and I attend the Best Academy. And I came in here today to invest in my education. As you see the panelists up here, different career opportunities. I think it's events like this that could lead us somewhere, that could encourage us or motivate us to be something in life. So.
All right. Now, there must be a Morehouse. I mean, how old are you? How old are you?
He's 15.
He's 15. A 15-year-old can stand up in the audience and speak. There must be a college student who can do that. Someone, here we go, down the front.
Up front.
And get your exercise doing this, guy.
Okay, I need it.
Hi, my name is Eric Sharp. I'm a senior economics major, and I'm also minoring in sports journalism. And I came to the forum just so I can get some insight on what I need to do because I'm very interested in sports, and I want that to become part of my career. So I wanted to kind of get what you guys did and with your struggles and stuff, and see how you overcame those, and kind of apply that to what I'm doing so that I can get to where you guys are.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
And one more. Here we are.
Good afternoon. My name is Blake Roberts. I'm a junior marketing major here at Morehouse. The major reason why I'm here today is to be exposed to individuals who are already leading in their professions, not only to see examples of how they were able to get there, but also how to perform while there and to gain information and knowledge on different career opportunities in different diverse fields that I may even be exposed to, and how those different things could be collaborated using what I know and maybe what I have not even been exposed to yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I want to come back to the panel for one question. I mentioned to the panel that I wanted each of them to talk about a motto of their own that relates to either how they live their life or how they proceed as a business person. And part of this is just the idea that I know in addition to talking about entertainment and sports careers, we're also talking about just in general professional development. And I thought that might be one way to approach it. In looking on CJ's website, which is very impressive, I noticed one thing that I thought was a very good model, something that I'm going to try to adopt myself. And that was his statement that a goal without a date is a wish. And so, CJ, could you just expand upon that?
Well, for me, success, or the people that are leading, like you say, I mean, I would definitely consider myself to be one of the top instructors in the country. And, you know, several people consider that, but that's because I hold myself accountable. At the end of the day, when a young man comes into my training facility with a wish at the time, it's my job to put him through a process that's going to make that happen. And that's a goal. And we make sure everything is time measured. And then even also with my nonprofit, the reason why we are the best in this country at what we do, going into inner city communities and using baseball to help young men access college, is because we do it at 100% rate. I mean, so everything that we do, we focus on being measured. I don't know how much longer God is going to give me on this earth, but over the next 5 years, if my goal is to retire, I'm 35 now, after 40, I don't want to work unless I want to. I've got to make sure I'm very strategic with the next 5 years of my life. Rather than hoping things happen, I got to make sure that my day-to-day plan is going to make it happen. And so without that, then I'm just a regular guy. And just being regular doesn't sit well with me at all.
Can you just give me one example when you say it has to be measured? So when you're talking about building Jason Hayward's swing, what's a measurement that tells you how he's progressing or not?
Well, for instance, this year, as we plan in the off season, preparing him for a major league season, one of the things that Jason didn't do a great job of last year because of his injury was have a good approach to the baseball. Now, you know, for all of you all have played baseball or seen it, I mean, you got pitchers throwing 100 miles an hour, they're throwing curveballs, they're throwing a lot of different pitches from a very short distance. So what I'm able to do is get his workouts in something specific like the approach. If we want to work on hitting the ball opposite field, setting up markers. And so this year we've probably received 15,000 reps. And so success for me is you hitting these balls in these areas at a rate of 70%. So rather than just coming into the cage and just hitting balls, here's where I want you to hit it. This is why I want you to hit it. And at the end of our time, if you can do it within this period of time, you should be successful. So if you don't bat 300, then it's not my fault.
Okay.
Period.
All right. Thank you. Isha, for you, what would be your motto?
Well, my company motto is extending beyond the ordinary, and that's because everything that I do, I want to do it different from everyone else. And being someone in marketing, that's what marketers do. You have to differentiate yourself against all the people that's out there, either personally or professionally. In terms of a motto that I live by is character will keep you where money cannot take you. I'll say that again. Character that is doing what is right because it is right when no one's looking will keep you where money can't take you. In the entertainment industry, you have so much pressure to do what's wrong. If you just take an inventory of celebrities, whether they're on the sports side, whether they're on the music or film side, and just see the trajectory of their careers and the decisions that they make, sometimes they're doing things that they don't think anybody sees or no one would notice, but at the end of the day, somehow it surfaces. Whatever's done in the dark, truthfully, will come to the light. So you have to live a life that's morally set, so that when you have those opportunities to get money, you know, people tend to be different when money comes. And I've turned down contracts because I didn't think it was morally right, the outcome of the product. If it influenced people in a negative way to do something that was against not only my moral values, but just generally speaking, I had to say no. It's either that or, you know, hey, yeah, I get that $10,000 contract, but can I live with myself? So I've seen people come and go, and the ones that stay are the people who have character and that people can trust and they're consistent. The ones that go, sadly, they go out hard. They die. They have issues that are seen publicly, and I know y'all just literally within the last 3 months, if not the last year, you can just name people off the top of your head that have had personal challenges. And a lot of that is because they've compromised. They didn't have the character or the strong values to say no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Reggie, you mentioned your motto, but would you repeat it again and explain why that's something you suggest students live by?
Well, one of the things is, you know, we're in the communication business, and I'm going to repeat the first one. I'll give you an example as to why it's important. Never write when you can talk, and never talk when you can listen. A longtime colleague of yours, Tony Grossi, you're probably familiar with this story. Guy covered the National Football League for 33 years for the Cleveland paper, was an icon in the business. Pro Football Hall of Fame committee. He's one of the 44 guys who helped select the members who are voted every January, the day before the Super Bowl, the guys who make the Hall of Fame. This guy was on his Twitter account 3 weeks ago, and someone sent him a note about the owner of the Browns, making a disparaging remark about the owner of the Browns, and he sort of agreed with their remark, tweeted the guy back, and instead of hit reply to this one guy, he hit reply to all. Went out to 788 people, including the owner. Okay, this guy now, after a 33-year career, is now finished. He's done. So, you know, never write when you can talk, never talk when you can listen. You don't need to be, and go back to the old, if you've got nothing nice to say about somebody, you probably shouldn't say it at all. That's the other thing. I tell my team, my football communications team, that Matthew Harper was a part of, who was a fantastic fan, who is going to be the next Reggie Roberts, by the way, over here. I tell my guys all the time, let's not be afraid to be great, okay? No matter what happens to the team can be getting their head beat in. Okay, the team, you know, we've got no control about what happens on the football field with regards to wins and losses. But we can do our jobs the right way. We can be 16, and we're going to treat people the right way. We're going to be on time. We're going to be punctual. We're going to have releases in press releases and profile stories with not a mistake in them. We can be great. Just because the team doesn't play well doesn't mean the football communications department doesn't have to play well. They can't play well.
All right. Thank you very much. And Kimberly?
And I think I mentioned it in my intro that one of many mottos I live by is, as long as I'm happy and doing what I enjoy, I'll never work a day in my life. And I really, really admonish you to hold fast to that, because do something that you enjoy doing. I mean, money will come. It will definitely come if you're happy. And I've always said that as a lawyer, I have so many colleagues who are unhappy, who they get the six-figure salaries, but they don't have any quality of life. And I'm totally different. I so prefer the quality of life than the big money. And when I talk to some of my friends who graduated with me and who are burned out, who look older than my mother, I mean, it's sad. And that's where the whole quality of life versus how much you're making really, really, really makes a difference. So if I can leave you guys with one thing, definitely enjoy what you do as a career. Don't follow the money, because the money will follow you.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much to all of you. So we'd like to open it up to questions, and raise your hand, and Guy Madison will chase you down with the microphone.
How you doing? My name is Kenneth Williams. I'm a senior economics major. And the thing that I noticed all you guys talk about is really finding your niche. And you kind of briefly gave an overview about it in your bios, but can you just go into a little bit more details? Because coming out of college, you know, you find a lot of the generic careers. A lot of people want to go into banking, consulting, but how were you able to go from, you know, just law school to, you know, sports management to, okay, I want to work for a nonprofits for athletes? Like, how were you all able to kind of really go and find that niche that made you successful?
Go ahead, Isha.
Let me frame that question by giving you perspective. And this is something I kind of went through myself. First of all, determine whether you want to go the career track professionally, basically go through corporate America, versus going the independent track. If you're going through the corporate America track, then certain things are standard or expected, including advanced degrees, so many years of training, experience, exposure, a resume that reflects where you are or where you want to be within a corporate setting. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to do something independently or different from the norm, you can kind of create your own strategy or create your own niche or define your own destiny. In my field, marketing, I don't need a master's degree or PhD in marketing. I just need experience and a success rate. I have a resume of clients that I've worked with that speaks to my ability to do what I do. It helps, or it's a nice thing that I have a business degree, but that just helps me with the tools or to be able to implement a plan. It doesn't, my clients don't ask me if I have a degree. They ask me who I work for, and because I'm in a circle, then I get referred because I do well. So I have to prove myself differently from somebody who goes through the corporate experience, because every year you get a salary increase, they look and see what kind of success you've had, and then they determine if you're going to get a quarter raise or not. In my case, I can set my own success and say, okay, I've worked with so many clients, or I literally go after certain clients to work with them and then put that on my business resume, and then I can go after another client. So because I'm non-traditional in that I started off small, working with individuals, working with college professors and doing their technical reports for marketing, and then I started freelance writing, doing the journalism for a lot of different entertainment publications, and then I started going on event tours. So I did film festivals in LA, I did music festivals here with like billboards and the Grammys, and I joined the Grammys, and then from there I started doing articles for bigger publications because my stuff started, I guess, cycling to the top. And in the media field, people see your works, they just like to reprint. So then people would start contacting me and saying, hey, can you write for us? We'll pay you. And then from there, I would start doing marketing projects for artists, smaller artists. And then because I also teach, I'm able to do some consulting / teaching within, for example, the Dallas Austin Foundation or Usher's New Look Foundation. And then from there, basically building my way through the ranks. But a lot of that had to do with where I wanted to go, how I saw myself, where my strengths were, and what I was just interested in. The music is not something I chose, it chose me, in that the people that I was around knew I was a good writer, and that's usually, for those are in entertainment business and writing and accounting, finance, marketing, those kind of things are, I guess, hard skills, and they're creative people. So they're not really focused on the accounting, the math, the legal, and all that. They want you to do that stuff while they're in the lab, you know, banging out beats or creating a script for the next awesome movie. So I add value because I can bring a skill set that they don't have. Different from being in a corporate America where everybody has kind of like the same skill set. Now you're competing against people who are just like you. So you have to determine which path you want to be on. The corporate, you know, I went to college, I'm going to go work for Coca-Cola, can I say names of companies? Home Depots. Okay, but there's a certain track that you have to prepare yourself for, and more than likely you have to get an advanced degree to really work your way up. But if you're going the opposite way and you know you're freestyling basically or freelancing, then you can kind of create your own skill set, and actually that's a little bit more liberated because then you also have the ability to define your brand, your personal brand and your professional brand. Does that make sense?
Sure. And CJ, you had a comment?
Well, I definitely wanted to speak to, so you say you're in economics. So, I mean, you take a situation like Prince Fielder, who just signed a 9-year, $212 million contract. You and I could work well together because what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop the swing from an economical standpoint. You're going to talk to Kimberly about getting his contract negotiated because there's value. And for me, I mean, I understand the value piece of it, but I'm in the cage and I'm working hard to help him. Long story short, at the end of the day, that could be a niche right there. You and I get together, $212 million, we get a split off of that. But I think the thing that really helps me out a whole lot and just allows me to continue to grow is every problem creates an opportunity. There's so many problems in the world. And so if we just look at those problems and look at what opportunities we have, I mean, for me, when I was a kid, I never thought I would be a professional swing coach. But for the most part, anybody coming out of Georgia that's an amateur that's going on to the professional ranks, I've worked with them at some point, and that's the continuation. So in baseball, there's always going to be people that's going to struggle playing. I'm going to be right there, and And I need some helping with marketing and stuff like that as well, so I can go across the country and get more clients.
I want to sort of narrow the question in relation to Reggie Roberts' career, because he went from being a sports writer to working for NFL teams and working for the league itself. So I'm curious about what convinced you or made you decide to make that switch, because you're basically going from outside to the inside look.
Well, it was kind of easy for me because at the time, reporters weren't being paid what they're paid now, Ron. They're just not. This was 1988, 1989. This is before ESPN blew up to the gigantic monster that it is now. And for me, I was always sort of interested in the public relations side. And when I first got the offer to go from Austin, Texas to New York City to work, anybody in here would have made that move based on the bridge. Okay, they just would have made the move. But to answer your question, you've got to be able to reinvent yourself. You've got to be, during your career, you've got to be able to reinvent yourself. The corporate part of it was exciting for me. Going to work for the NFL, which is one of the world's biggest and most successful brands, was a great opportunity for me. The NFL does it better than any professional sports league in America. The numbers say so. How many people watch the Super Bowl? How many people stream the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl has become this just monstrosity event, this billion-dollar event. Commissioner Goodell said last year at the league meetings that his goal by 2025 is to grow the league's revenues to $25 billion. The popularity of our game, the league's revenues right now are $11 billion a year, and it will get there with all the things we're doing in television, with our expansion moves to China and Europe and all the other things we're talking about. It'll get there. But to answer your question, you've got to be able to reinvent yourself. There was a period during my career where I spent 2 years out of the league, and what I did was I became an entrepreneur and I started my own company. I had 12 NFL clients that I worked with from everything from event marketing, community relations, speech writing. I had one client that wanted to go into the party business. So there's a young woman in Tampa who I knew who's in the party business. She and I got together, worked together, and he started throwing parties all over Florida. Okay, whatever that was his thing. So, but the one constant through all of that helped me do all of that was I could write. All of this had a writing component. You needed to be able to put together a proposal. You needed to send people information about your client. One of my clients wanted to be profiled in Ebony magazine. Okay, we got that done for him. He said, if you can get me in Ebony magazine, there's a $25,000 bonus for you to get that done. I worked extra hard to get that done. Okay, we got him profiled in Ebony magazine. So, I think the key thing for everybody in here, decide early what it is that you want to do. Okay, NFL teams, NBA teams, Major League Baseball teams have a proliferation of jobs. They need trainers, they need doctors, they need lawyers, they need accountants, they need marketing people, they need finance people, they need public relations people, they need marketing people. Find out what you're good at. Okay, research it. Get on the internet. Get on the phone. Matthew called me out of the blue. Just called me. Okay, and I'm thinking, who is this guy on the phone calling me? Okay, I admire that. Show some initiative. Okay, all you're gonna get told is either yes or no. You got a 50% chance of being told yes. Okay, show some initiative. Get on the internet. Research. If you come with an idea and you're gonna make me better, I'm interested in having you on my team. That's how I look at it.
And I would just piggyback from what everybody else was saying. Follow your passion, and it gets back to my motto. As long as I'm doing something I enjoy doing, I'll never work a day in my life. Out of law school, I wanted to be a sports agent. Okay, well, Kimberly, what is that path to get you to that industry? Just a foot in the door. Well, I decided to follow my passion with the community service element. And I'm very, very philanthropic, and I love to do community service. So that was my entree into the sports industry. And then once I got in, you're in. Again, it's that circle of trust that just, it is amazing, because with that philanthropic background that I've had with my clients, they've trusted me to do their business development. I'm playing parties, I'm playing football camps. So it all is encompassed in that one area of what I started out doing, and that was following my passion with community service. So follow your passion, and you'll never work a day in your life.
I just want to add one thing. I think one thing that's consistent with everyone's career here, among the panelists, and also actually with my career as a journalist, is that they've been really willing to expand. You know, you start out in my case as a writer, but then I've done, you know, I've been on radio and TV or on post-game shows and pre-game shows, and I went from writing newspaper articles to writing magazine articles to eventually writing a book. I have a partnership with a friend of mine in San Francisco. We put on a lot of seminars about racial, gender, and media issues in sports, and we did those at several different colleges. So without even thinking about it, I was preparing myself for the job I have now at Morehouse because it encompasses all of those things. So I could have just only written for newspapers and been a beat reporter and not been interested in other aspects of the business. And but I just had this sort of wide range of interests. And so when you get these opportunities, if they come your way, take advantage of them in doing something a little bit new. And the other thing is, if you find something, you're working for a company and there's a particular job that somebody else holds that you would like to have, let your advisor know that this is what I'd like to do if the opportunity comes up. That's the way I got to cover the NBA. When I was hired in San Francisco, they hired me to cover college basketball and football. But I told our editor that if the NBA writer ever left, then I wanted to cover the team. And then a couple of years later, he became a columnist with another paper, and he turned to me first and asked me if I wanted to cover the Warriors. So let people know what you want to do, and then just be building toward that as you work and do whatever job you have at that particular time. Okay? Let's take another question. And could you, if you want, just direct it to one or two of the panelists.
Oh, okay. To Mr. Reggie. When I plan on going to law school when I graduate from here, and I don't want to be one of those kids that is about to graduate from law school and I still don't have a job. So I want to ask you, what do I need to do while I'm in school to build on my career so that when I graduate, I can already be there. You know, I don't want to. I'm messing up right now because I'm nervous, but it's all right. But yeah, my other question was, you said people can either tell you yes or no. What do I need to do to get someone like you to tell me yes?
With regards to your desire to go to law school, during the summers after your first year of law school, one of the things that I would do, whether you want to work in pro basketball, Major League Baseball, pro football, I'd contact the league office. The league office has, what, 50 lawyers? Okay? They're always looking for summer associates, summer interns. I'd start there. The league has a huge human resources department, and they're always looking for qualified students to come in to maybe spend a couple of 3 months at the league office working in various departments, whether it be communications, whether it be marketing, whether it be contracts, whether it be finance, marketing. So I'd start there. If the NFL doesn't have any openings, get some experience. Go. The NBA is on Fifth Avenue. They're 3 blocks away from the NFL office. Okay. Even if you don't like hockey, then hockey might be looking for lawyers or law students. The key is have some sort of work practical experience. So when you're done with law school and you want to go work for a pro sports team or work in one of the league offices, you'll have some practical experience that says, oh yeah, he's done this. He spent a summer at the NFL. He spent a summer at Major League Baseball. With regards to what I look for guys who are a little bit like me. I look for guys who are well-spoken, who are hungry, who've got passion, and you know, if you're, and Matthew will tell you this, if you're a clock watcher, you can't work for me. You can't. Okay? Our business goes from 6 a.m. during training camp to about midnight at night. Okay? That's when we finish. That's when the work gets done. Okay? I'm about to work. Okay? There are 32 teams in the National Football League. Okay? You know how many resumes a month I get for the 6 spots in my department? Anybody want to take a guess how many resumes I get a month? How many? I get 500 resumes a month. I get 500 a month for 6 slots. Okay? It's highly competitive. I get resumes from kids from Georgia Tech, from all over this country. Okay, I've got an affinity for helping kids that look like the kids in this audience. Okay, but I'm harder on y'all. Ask Matthew. I'm harder on you guys because I've been in the league office and I know how hard it is to get there and stay there. Okay, so if you send me a resume and I call you back, you better be ready to play. You better be ready to hit the fastball. You better be able to hit it. Because if you can't hit it, if you can't keep up with me, you out. Period. If that sounds harsh or hurt your feelings, that's just a bear. I'll show you something else. We have a thing that we show that we give every kid who's drafted by the Falcons called the brutal facts of reality. Okay? Let me just give you some numbers real fast. 1 million kids play high school football every year. Okay? 65,000 play college football. 6,500 are scouted by NFL teams. 350 are invited to the combine. Okay? 256 are drafted by NFL teams. 590 are invited as street free agents, just college free agents who are invited to NFL camps. So that means there's 800, out of that 1 million people, 846 are invited to NFL camps. Okay? 646 of these people are released during NFL Week 1. Okay? So that means there's 200 who make an NFL team every year. 150 of these people play 4 seasons, and by the time they're 30 years old, only 30 of these people are in the league. Okay? That's real talk. This isn't made up numbers. These are called the brutal facts of reality. It's the same way in marketing. It's the same way in public relations. It's the same way in communications. Okay? Okay? If you show up and you're prepared, you'll get a shot. You show up and you go and you get that practical experience, you'll get a shot. But if you show up to my office and you ain't ready, you out.
And
Thank
can
you.
I add to?
Sure.
Can I add to
Go
Reggie?
ahead.
Network. If you guys don't leave here with at least 2 of our business cards, I'm gonna come on this campus and find you, because it starts here. I didn't get that start at Spelman, but I used Tulane. I used the career placement office at Tulane, and I was cold calling people all the time. I met one guy, the mayor, Kasim Reed, who actually sent me a list of his contacts. And through that, I was able to call. When I decided that I wanted to come back to Atlanta, I went to lunch with these people. I followed up with them. We appreciate that. Don't think that you are bugging us. I mean, Reggie gets 500 resumes a month. But how many of those people actually follow up with him and say, okay, send him a nice email. Mr. Roberts, I have forwarded you my resume. I just wanted to make sure that you are in receipt of it. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you again. You have to network, especially in this industry, and you need to start now. So I cannot drill that in your heads. Network.
Okay.
And follow up.
All right. There was a question here, young man in the sweatshirt, from Sidwell.
Again, I did this non-traditional, so, and I'm not a non-traditional person. I've never worked more than 32 hours anywhere in my life. So, but that's just based on where I ended up in terms of, you know, the jobs that I ended up in and so forth. I was very blessed to be able to work with companies that valued who I was and allowed me either flex time or where I could work 25 hours a week, and basically I keep my expenses low so I wouldn't have to work as I also mentioned doing technical reports for professors, and they pay really well. So I would take that money, put it aside, savings account. Y'all should have a savings account. And then when I got a certain amount of money, I invested in myself and started my business. I also did something called a soft launch, which I always encourage those who are looking into the entrepreneurial aspect to do. Because I didn't have I didn't have a thing to put on the shelf to sell. If you have something that you can put on the shelf to sell that you can sell to another company, that's usually better because it's out there generating money while you're sleeping. But if you're providing a service, you physically are the product. So you have to be out there, which means that's going to take a lot of time from your 9 to 5 or whatever, even if you're in college. So there could be a combination of things. You might find that thing that you can sell and use that money to fund your actual vision, or you can do a combination of working part-time, going to school part-time, and then doing your entrepreneurial projects part-time. A lot of things that go on the sports and the entertainment side happen at night and on the weekends anyway. So if you're, especially if you're in PR, well, not necessarily his job, according to how he's defined it, but a lot of publicists that I work with, they tend to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, doing a lot of their core events. And even on the film side, usually, I think I've been to one film festival that was a whole, I think it was 7 days. But most of those events that go on are either 1 day or 2 day or 3 day things, and sometimes you can get contract projects or events that you can pick up and just do small things, and then save that money and then take smaller steps. That's one way to do it. The other way, I would still say, obviously, is to stay in school because you need the skill set. I would say people like your Bill Gates and your Michael Dells and even Steve Jobs, they still went to school. Most of them didn't have a bachelor's degree, but they still went to school. They just learned on the opposite side. Does that make sense? So either take the time now where you don't have that pressure to learn, to get the training, to do the internships and all that other stuff, or when you start the business, you're going to learn, but you're going to learn it the hard way, or you're going to have to pay somebody to do it for you.
Ron, we've got one brief comment here.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Holmes. I'm professor of entrepreneurship at Morehouse and at Georgia State. When your passion rises to the point where you can't do the corporate track any longer, then you have to go. There is no set formula. You have to look at yourself individually, look at where you are in the process of going against your passion, because entrepreneurship is about passion. It's not a job. It's not that you can take your profession and go out and do a job. I tell my students all the time that if you have a vending truck and you don't employ anybody, then that's a job. That's not entrepreneurship. So understand that entrepreneurship is about building an enterprise. It's not about a job. So whenever you get to the point where you believe that you have the passion and that you've got to go for it, then you got to go. It's not necessarily about the money, because if your passion and your idea is good, then you can find money. But there's got to be passion there. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. I wanted to just go to one of the questions we said that we would address when we began, and that is, what are the obstacles to success in your business? So all of you are very successful, but all of you know people who have not made the cut in your business. And CJ, just start with you. What are the biggest obstacles you face, and when people get into your business and don't make it, why do they most often fail?
Well, I mean, again, for me, with the baseball training industry, I mean, I say this and not trying to be arrogant, but I don't have any competition. I just have people that work in my industry, and I would just say that the obstacles would be just lacking creativity, because I mean, I'm in such a great position that, I mean, again, coming in here, this isn't an industry that a kid would say I want to do. So coming out of professional baseball, it was something that I created. So every day, I mean, even from a standpoint of, as you mentioned, Isha, I don't want to show up every day to train. So when Jason goes to spring training, basically he can send me the videos of his swing. I've created a system that allows me to analyze it. So I put the swing into parts, and when I see a part that's wrong, then I can just have him go online to my website and do drills specific for that part, with or without equipment. And so I can do that just in my bed. you know, and so I don't have to physically show up. So I was just saying, my industry is just those people that just lack creativity and drive. I mean, you couldn't make it. And I actually got an opportunity to meet Butch Harmon, who is a Tiger swing coach. And I mean, that's all he does. All year is just work from client to client and just help them be the athletes that we see on television.
Okay. All right, thanks. Isha?
Delays and denials are probably the two, in a nutshell, the obstacles. You'll have a lot of people tell you no. You'll have a lot of people tell you not now. And I learned a long time ago that you keep pushing until you find the person that tells you yes. But in that process, while you're pushing, you're refining and defining your pitch. Because sometimes people tell you no because your pitch is wrong. Your physical pitch is wrong. Or your pitch from a marketing perspective is wrong, or it doesn't click or gel with what they're looking for. It doesn't align with what they're trying to do. So a lot of times when you're hearing a no, it's not no, I don't want you per se. It's something that you're not doing correctly. And if you're not good with denials and delays and rejection, your self-esteem is low, then you're going to have a problem. So learn how to manage rejection, delays and denials, and learn how to take those delays and denials and make them into yeses, and find that person that will tell you yes.
Okay. Reggie?
I think I've seen a couple of different things. When I worked in New York City at the league office, there's a huge biasness for East Coast intelligence, East Coast smarts. I went to NYU, I went to UMass, I went to Penn, and I saw a lot of people who went to small schools, who didn't go to the prestigious schools, didn't go to Harvard, didn't go to Yale, didn't go to MIT. I saw them kind of wilt and fold under the bright glare of what I call the East Coast biasness. If you can do it, you can do it. Whether you went to Harvard or Votech, if you can do it, you can do it, okay? It's all, in my mind, it comes down to desire, hard work, and want to. And that's inside your chest, and that's inside your head, okay? Give me guys and young women who have passion. Give me guys and young women who don't watch the clock. Give me guys who want to do it right the first time, and we can make you good, okay? Don't use the fact that, well, I didn't go to Harvard, or I don't have an advanced degree because my parents couldn't afford to send me, or, okay, don't use excuses. That makes me crazy when I hear young people say to me, there was a young woman who came down to work in my department 3 years ago from University of Florida. Fantastic writer, really good writer, was really good at it, but you know, the one thing she kept saying was, I'm just not as good as everybody else. I'm just, well, okay, if you say that, you are what you say you are. If you say that comes out of your mouth, you're not going to be as good, okay? Don't let the fact that you didn't go to Harvard, or you didn't go to Yale, or you didn't go to MIT derail you from your dream. Work hard, show up on time, ask questions. We can make the rest of it work.
Ron, we got 5 minutes.
Okay. Kimberly, do you want to respond to that, or should we just take one more question?
I'll actually just say something really brief. I've seen a fall of a lot of people who do what I do fail when they say that they can do something they don't know what they're doing. And again, it goes back to the circle of trust with a lot of these athletes and entertainers who entrust in you their careers, their personal lives, their family lives. So if you're going to say you're going to do something, if you're working in this industry, do it and do it well.
Okay. Guys, should we take one more question? You want me? Okay,
Sure.
we'll take one last question? Someone?
Okay. Hold.
Okay.
My name is Tobias Wimby. I attend Best Academy High School. I'm a 10th grader. This one is for Coach CJ. I want to know, what trial and error encounters have you had before truly becoming successful?
Oh man, just not being afraid to mess up. I think about the young men that I've been able to develop. But I've messed up a lot of kids' swings trying to figure out how to do this thing. And I remember one time I was flying to Arizona for a workout, and there was a young man that was staring at me on the plane, and he came up to me finally. He said, "Are you C.J. Stewart?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I'm thinking like, all right, man, God knows who I am. And he said, "My name is such and such." He said, "I'm a student at Arizona State." So I'm thinking, okay, I don't think I got a client at Arizona State, but now I do. He said, "Well, no, I'm not playing baseball. I wasn't good enough." And so this is probably a kid that I messed up his swing, but the thing is, I've learned. I've learned, and so I actually have been able to create a 6-phase methodology that allows me to be successful. But that came from my wife one day. She just told me, she said, "Look, just write down everything you know about hitting." And I literally wrote down, it was probably about 40 pages of bullet points. So I didn't even go into all of the detail, just 40 pages of bullet points. We had a good friend of mine who's a process analyst, and he got that 40 pages plus and created the methodology. And it's six steps. So now when I go in and I train, here's the process, here's the methodology. If I'm training an instructor to do the same thing, here's the methodology. So to the panelist points, you can't be afraid to mess up, and Lord knows I've messed up. Thankfully, I was able to mess up enough and be ready for Jason when he came along to help him.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. Well, we're out of time, so I want to thank the panelists. I think you've been terrific. I want to thank the audience. I know that college students, they have a lot of choices they can make and how they want to utilize their time. We're glad you decided to spend it with us. I want to thank the Best Academy students for coming here, and hope we can call you Morehouse and AUC students at some date in the future. And I just want to leave you with just going over, again, the mottos that our 4 panelists had expressed throughout the program. I think they're just good to keep in mind. And before I do that, let me say one thing, which is Kimberly Haynes mentioned the importance of networking. They are here for a few minutes. You can talk to them afterwards, so take advantage of that opportunity to maybe get a business card or make some type of personal connection. That's the key thing. If you haven't done it before, it's a good way to get started. So, to the mottos. Isha Edwards, character will keep you where money cannot take you. Kimberly Haynes, find and follow your passion. Reggie Roberts, don't write when you can talk. Don't talk when you can listen. And C.J. Stewart, a goal without a date is a wish. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed this program.